Hey there everyone, it's Michael. I review nootropics, and during this video I'm going to review 37 nootropics and let you know specifically if they're underrated or they're overrated. These are all nootropics that I have used, and if you'd like to skip ahead to any particular nootropic, then you can find where it's at in the timestamps found in the description box below. And let's jump right into the first one, and if you're of course getting value from the video, consider subscribing. The very first nootropic is Modafinil, and I'd say it's overrated because it helps in terms of focus, in terms of keeping you awake, especially when you're sleep deprived, but the cons are that it makes you very irritable and you feel a crash somewhere about 7 hours following ingestion, and it overall just does not end up being a productive day. The next nootropic is alpha GPC. I would say it's underrated because it really helps with mental energy, and I think it's appropriate regardless of what kind of work you're doing, whether you're a student, maybe you're in sales, maybe even you're somebody wanting to enjoy your time off. It will just make you a better version of yourself without changing your personality. Next we've got Aniracetam. I would say it's underrated because I like that it helps with anxiety, it helps you with verbal fluency, it helps you even with stage fright, yet it doesn't have some of the side effects that other nootropics do have. Next we've got Ashwagandha. I would actually say it's overrated, and I say it's overrated because it's something that I'm still questioning whether or not I need in my stack. If your goal is like mine, which is to be more productive and make more money, Ashwagandha, it really won't help you do just that. It will help you more enjoy the process. So it's great in terms of reducing your stress levels, but I feel like in the grand scheme of things, it's pretty overrated. The next nootropic is Bacopa Mineri, and I'd say it's underrated because Bacopa, from my experience, is one of the best nootropics out there for memory enhancement. So if you're a student, or even if you're somebody who's just looking to get better at a particular skill, you will notice Bacopa working within about 2 weeks. The next nootropic is CDP Choline. I would say it's properly rated. It's not too hyped up, yet it doesn't really have bad reviews. It's a milder version of alpha GPC. It's really not that effective. You won't notice much of a difference, but it's healthy. There aren't a lot of side effects. The very next nootropic is Caffeine L-theanine, and I would say it's overrated because I think most people are already taking enough caffeine to begin with. Yes, L-theanine and caffeine make a great combination. L-theanine does reduce a lot of the anxiety that comes with caffeine and even the crash to some extent, but I think there are better nootropics out there because this blend, it helps you get more energy, but doesn't really seem to make you smarter or feel like you have any sort of enhanced cognition while on it. The next nootropic is Coluracetam. I would say Coluracetam is overrated. I had high hopes in taking Coluracetam for some of its benefits with memory, energy, and boost of motivation. It's an interesting nootropic in that you need to take it in very small amounts, but I didn't notice much from it, so I would not advise one to take it, but maybe it was just me. Next would be Cordyceps. I would say it's overrated as well. I didn't notice pretty much anything from taking it. I've tried it in from a number of different suppliers, and if anything, maybe I felt like my sleep was a little bit better, but it didn't do much as far as my energy levels or enhance my workouts or cardio like it was supposed to. The next nootropic we have is Creatine. As a nootropic, I would say it's properly rated. It's good in the sense you will find that when you're taking creatine, especially if you're a vegan or you don't eat meat, that your energy levels will be higher. You'll feel like things don't stress you out as much as they typically would, and there are also some neat studies suggesting that creatine will help you if you are somewhat sleep deprived. The next nootropic we have is Dynamine. I would say it's overrated a little bit. I don't really feel like there's any need to take Dynamine over caffeine. I think it's just a nice kind of trendy nootropic out there, but as far as its mental stimulation, it's okay. It doesn't really give you the mood improvement that you'll get with caffeine. So if I'm going to take something which is going to hurt my sleep quality, I would want it to be very effective for the amount that I take, and for that reason I would say it's overrated. The next nootropic we have is fish oil, and I would say fish oil is underrated, and I believe that to be true because during the periods in which I've taken a very high dose of fish oil, I was definitely happier. I found myself more able to deal with problems, and it also had this nice effect of making me more disciplined to avoid sugar, avoid caffeine, sleeping well. You just kind of feel like everything's right. So especially for people who have mood stability issues, I would highly advise you to give fish oil another consideration, or maybe try it in a high dose. Of course, don't go overboard. Next, we've got Ginkgo Biloba, and I would say it's overrated. I feel like I'm saying everything's overrated at this point, but Ginkgo Biloba is not something you will probably notice. There are some individuals that may report feeling like a slight memory boost, but that's most likely going to be somebody who's either experiencing some sort of dementia, or maybe they've had some like brain injury in the past. Next, we've got Huperzine A. I would say it's properly rated. It's not really rated too highly out there. Huperzine A does have some nice research around it for its memory improvement, and it does have a cool use as using it for lucid dreams. I've not noticed much from Huperzine A, but there are some individuals that do feel like it does cause a good kind of like nootropic effect in their system. And the next nootropic we have on our list is L-Carnitine, which I would say it's overrated. In theory, it's supposed to help you more efficiently utilize fat for fuel, giving you more energy, more mental focus, but in a practical sense, it really doesn't do too much. The other version of it, acetyl L-carnitine, is something that is noticeable, so that perhaps is worth trying, but L-carnitine, I would say it is very overrated. And the next nootropic is L-Tyrosine. I would say it's underrated. I actually really like L-Tyrosine. I'd rate it 10 out of 10 because when you take L-Tyrosine, you can actually notice for a good 2 to 3 hours, you feel in the zone. You feel like you get a good boost of concentration. It's almost like taking caffeine without it being a stimulant. So you can take this in the later portion of the day and have it not even affect your sleep. So it's really something else. I would recommend that if you take it, try it by itself, without other calories, so not with a meal, like fasted or maybe 2 hours after your very last meal. The next nootropic we have is L-theanine. I also feel is underrated because it's very safe and it works in the sense like it really helps you with anxiety, helps you with calmness. What you can expect from taking L-theanine is for 1 to 2 hours, you feel very present. You kind of get in that state you feel like post-meditation. A very common practice of using L-theanine is combining it with caffeine, like I mentioned earlier. But even if you were to take L-theanine by itself, let's say if something bad happened in the day and you just want to forget about it and move forward with your day, then pop a capsule of L-theanine and you'll be pretty impressed with it. And the next nootropic is lion's mane. I would say lion's mane is underrated because if you were to take lion's mane like every single day for a few years, you would just be a different person. Lion's mane makes you smarter, it makes you think a lot more like comprehensively almost. You feel like a more sophisticated version of yourself. I think for students it's great. You'll become interested in whatever material that you learn. You become interested in people. It's really something else. I've now been taking it like over 6 years and it's made a tremendous difference to my life and has a really neat benefit of also helping you with your mood. So definitely give lion's mane a consideration if you're looking for a new nootropic. And the next nootropic is Magnesium L-Threonate. I would say it's underrated. It definitely works as far as focus. You even get better sleep. It's very interesting nootropic in that you're supposed to be taking it in the morning and then again at night, yet it does give you a bit of alertness, and then if you take it before bed, it makes you tired. So definitely a very neat kind of new nootropic in a lot of ways, really good for focus. But the problem is it is very, very pricey, which is the reason why a lot of people haven't tried it yet. So it's something worth considering, of course, if you have the budget for it. And the next nootropic we have is Modafinil. I would say it's properly rated. A lot of people may say that it's overrated because of its bad side effects, but there are ways to offset or eliminate some of those side effects, and it has a neat way of like really improving your work ethic. Like Modafinil is known for being one of those pills that you take and you can get like 14 to 16 hours of work done in an efficient manner without breaks. Like that's a real thing. So for that reason, I would say it's properly rated. Definitely not overrated. And the next nootropic we have is Mucuna Pruriens. I would say it's overrated because mucuna is great in the sense like it increases your dopamine levels, but at the same time, you don't want to artificially increase your dopamine levels every single day. So it's a little bit misunderstood. I don't like the idea of people taking it every single day. That could have some bad long-term impacts on your health. So I would say it's overrated. And the next nootropic we have is N-Acetyl-Cysteine, which is properly rated because it's good in the sense like it really helps people with ADHD, helps them as well with OCD or OCD-like behaviors, but it doesn't really seem to work for everyone. Yes, it's a great antioxidant, but is it one of those nootropics that you'll see in a lot of people's top 5 lists? Probably not. Although again, it could be a game changer for some people. So for that reason, I would say it's properly rated. The next nootropic we have is Noopept, and I would say it's underrated because Noopept is one of those nootropics that has definitely resulted in me increasing my income. I can go back to some of the months where I've broken like my sales plateaus. I've had the best income months, and it was specifically because I was taking kind of like more Noopept than typically, and probably more Noopept than I should have, because when you take Noopept, expect to feel very motivated, expect to feel very sharp, very witty. It's very easy to like neglect anything outside of work when you're taking Noopept. Yet at the same time, it's mild. Like you can take it later in the day and it won't keep you up. So I personally really like Noopept, but I have found that some people just don't respond to it the same way. And the next nootropic is Oxiracetam. I would say it's underrated. It's similar to the way I described Noopept in that you will get the focus, you will get the motivation, you will feel very sharp. But one thing great about Oxiracetam is that you can take it more days consecutively without taking time off so often. Whereas with Noopept, I mean, it's like 30 days on, 1 week off. With Oxiracetam, you can at least take it every single day for a couple of months without having to take a bit of a break in order to reset your tolerance. And it has a really good benefit, Oxiracetam, that when you mix it with other racetams, it has this powerful synergistic effect, and then you just really feel in state pretty much all day. It's a great feeling. The next nootropic we have is PRL-853. I've given this a shot several times, although I would say it's overrated because I didn't get much of a benefit while taking it. What it's known for is for improving your memory specifically. It's supposed to be like one of the best nootropics out there for improving your memory, yet I've taken it at a normal dose. I've also taken it in a higher dose, and I didn't really feel like I needed it when I was using Bacopa, so I would rather just stick to Bacopa, and I would say PRL is overrated and maybe just a bit hyped up right now like a trendy nootropic. The next nootropic we have is Panax Ginseng. I would say it's properly rated because some people really like the effects that it has with reducing stress, whereas some people find like it gives them this weird stimulation feeling. So this is one of those nootropics that it's really just going to depend who you ask. I would personally rather take something like Rhodiola Rosea to help me eliminate stress and help fight fatigue, but some people really like taking Panax Ginseng, especially when they're using it with caffeine. Next we have Phenibut. I would say it's really overrated. It's something that a lot of people use for anxiety, something people also use to help them with their sleep, but I found that with Phenibut is there's no denying that the stuff works. You do feel relaxed, but this is kind of more like a fun nootropic. It's something you would take during your time off. But if you're somebody like myself who's really looking to be more productive and really looking to be more efficient during those hours that you work, then Phenibut is like an absolute knob, because I find that when I take it, my willpower is lessened, my discipline is low, and I'm more likely to just want to kind of spend time doing distracting work and not the most effective, productive work that is going to make me get out of my comfort zone and really make me grow. The next nootropic is Phenylalanine. It's overrated from my experience. I've tried it a number of times, and when you mix it with caffeine, it does have this nice effect of boosting your mood a little bit, but I feel like L-Tyrosine is much better. When you take L-Tyrosine, you actually notice something. With phenylalanine, you don't really notice much, plus it tastes awful, so there's not a lot of people I know who actually stick to phenylalanine long term. It's like they just maybe try one bottle of it and then never get it again. And the next nootropic is Phenylpiracetam. I would say it's underrated because this is one of the strongest supplements out there without having side effects, because you take Phenylpiracetam once in the beginning of the day and you get like a huge energy boost, like literally so much energy that you'll find the random need to go for like a jog outside. You feel very productive, you feel clear-minded, you don't really need to take breaks. So it's I mean, even good around working out. Just be mindful that if you do take it later in the day, then you may be kept up later than typically. And the next nootropic is Phosphatidylserine, which I would say is underrated because it reduces your stress levels in a very interesting way. It actually reduces cortisol levels, so that makes it very good for stress management, similar to taking ashwagandha. But with phosphatidylserine, you can actually notice like the cognitive enhancing effects. Like your memory will be really, really solid even when you're sleep deprived. Like I remember a time when I was a student and I was only sleeping like 5 hours a day, and phosphatidylserine pretty much helped me have the memory of my normal self when I was getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep. So that's what made it unique and made it really good for productivity. And the next nootropic we have is a newer one. It's called Polygala Tenuifolia, and it's maybe overhyped right now because it's one of the newer nootropics, especially on Nootropics Depot, and I would say it's, you could say, properly rated. It does do something as far as energy, as far as focus and motivation, but the biggest problem I had with Polygala is that I needed to take like 3 to 4 times more than the suggested amount to even notice the effects, but it had a neat benefit while not being stimulated, so maybe it's worth checking out. The next nootropic we have is Piracetam. Piracetam I still feel is very underrated because Piracetam, it's one of the most studied nootropics out there. It's like the original nootropic, you can say, and it makes like your whole nootropic stack better. So for those of you who have tried Piracetam for learning, for thinking, for better recall, even helping you in situations where you're normally stressed out, just maybe give it another chance, combine it with choline, or add it to your other nootropics, because Piracetam isn't something which I noticed much the first few months, but I was very patient with it, and to this day, it's one of my favorite nootropics that I like a lot. Next, we've got Rhodiola Rosea. I would say it's underrated because Rhodiola Rosea helps you fight fatigue without giving you any side effects. Similar to Panax Ginseng, but Panax Ginseng kind of gives you this like awkward like stimulation that can cause anxiety for some people, but with Rhodiola Rosea, we're talking like minimal side effects, help you to fight fatigue, helps you suppress your appetite, which makes it great for weight loss, and it's something that I've been taking for years, but it's like just as effective now as it was back when I originally started taking it, so I haven't really built any tolerance to it, and I can only say really good things about Rhodiola Rosea. And the next nootropic we have is Sabroxy, which is underrated in my opinion. Sabroxy feels like a natural version of almost like amphetamine. It's pretty strong stuff in the sense like you feel focused, you get this mood improvement, but it doesn't have some of the bad side effects that come with, of course, amphetamine, like things like Adderall. Like, no, it's nowhere as strong, but if you take a dose that's high enough and you combine it with caffeine, you can surely feel the effects, and you'll find that like your work ethic is much better than it typically is. But with Sabroxy, I have found that unfortunately I need to take a lot more than the suggested dose. So for that reason, I'm probably not going to go ahead and buy it again. I just don't think it's worth it, but it may be worth considering to try. The very next nootropic is theacrine. It's horribly overrated. It's a stimulant, and the promise with theacrine is that it's kind of like a jitter-free and anxiety-free version of caffeine. Like, it's supposed to be a smoother energy, but I don't really find theacrine too effective, even at doses of like 200 or 300 milligrams, and it doesn't give me that nice mood enhancement that I get with caffeine. So I'd rather much stick to my caffeine. Next, we have Tongkat Ali. I think it's very underrated. Tongkat Ali is one of the best nootropics out there that's safe, yet does actually result in you feeling a significant libido boost, testosterone boost. I was on TRT in the past, so I'm pretty much like hypersensitive to any supplement which is going to boost my testosterone levels, and I have found that Tongkat Ali is that one supplement that I've like always needed, because within like a week of you starting to take Tongkat Ali, you'll definitely feel it as far as like better workouts, higher libido like I mentioned, so would highly recommend it, and that's probably one of my favorite new nootropics over the past year. And next we have vinpocetine, which is overrated. It really doesn't do anything. I've used it again and again and again, and it was one of the first nootropics that I actually tried back in the days when I was a student over 10 years ago, and I expected it to have benefits with improving my memory and helping me learn faster, but it really didn't do that. I think a lot of people just go try it because it's very inexpensive, which is good. There may be some research suggesting that it can work with people who are elder, or maybe people who have experienced some sort of degree of Alzheimer's, but for the odd healthy individual like yourself and me, probably won't result in having much of a benefit or pretty much anything noticeable. And the next nootropic we have is 5-HTP, which I think is properly rated. 5-HTP is pretty much like taking or having a supplement which is going to increase your serotonin levels, because that's what it does. So it's very interesting that way, in that you can take something which does kind of improve your mood without being a stimulant, because it works very quickly. It's a nice like bandage to put over your problems. It's a supplement to have in handy. Let's say if something bad happens in the day that you just want to forget about and be clear-minded, take some 5-HTP, and it's really difficult to be in a bad mood following ingestion. So it has some nice uses that way, but the major problem I have with 5-HTP is you're just putting a bandage over your problems, whereas you're better off learning to be more resilient, and that is what personal growth is all about. However, 5-HTP does have one really neat benefit, is that it's absolutely great as an appetite suppressant. Specifically for those of you who have problems like overeating carbohydrates or overeating sugars, you can try ingesting like 50 to 100 milligrams of 5-HTP prior to a time when you would usually binge eat and you would have like no desire to eat carbohydrates whatsoever. And I really hope you found all this information helpful. We went through a number of nootropics. If you want to know where I would rate them from 1 to 10 and what these nootropics actually do, then I've talked about it in this video. I will link over here. Be sure to subscribe if you got value from this video. And for those of you that are a returning viewer, I really appreciate your support. Please do click like if you enjoyed the video. Thank you guys so much for your interest in nootropics, and I will look forward to seeing you all next time.